Hello and welcome to my first ever voiceover. Today I'll be giving this Mercedes E220d a good seeing to. The wheel barrels and the wheel arches are covered in brake dust and mud. There's also a lot of bird poo covering the car, as well as some bug splatters on the front of the car. The wheels and wheel arches were first pre-treated with Surfax HD from Built Hamber, before the arches were agitated using an EZ wheel brush before being rinsed off. Wheels and tyres were then given a healthy dose of bilberry from Valet Pro and left to work in before being agitated with various soft and stiff brushes to remove most of the muck. My aim here wasn't to get these curb rashed alloys to showroom standard, but to simply lift off as much contamination as I could in one pass to hopefully brighten them up a little bit. Due to the rear arches being fabric, I decided to soak them in the same degreaser used earlier before spending a good 10 minutes agitating them, as well as another 10 minutes after that spraying them out to remove all of the mud and bits of straw. The fake exhausts were then agitated with some wheel cleaner and a stiff detail brush to remove any carbon and make them pop just that little bit more. The door jambs were in surprisingly good condition, so they were lightly agitated using a soft detail brush that had been soaking in a bucket of shampoo before being flushed out with a steady stream of water. Before snow foaming the car, the front of the car was treated to a foaming bug remover to loosen any bug guts and bird poo. The car was then given a thick blanket of foam to start loosening the first layer of dirt so I could safely remove it. The hard to reach areas were agitated with a soft detail brush to remove the dirt that the subsequent contact wash would fail to reach. Before the entire car was rinsed off at high pressure to remove all of the snow foam. The car was then given a thorough contact clean using the 2-bucket method to safely remove the contamination that the previous stage had failed to do. Any tar spots that had remained were treated with a tar remover before being agitated in and rinsed off at pressure to remove them. An iron remover was used in the paintwork to remove any iron contamination. This is very important to do before you machine polish. The car was then lightly foamed over again before being clay barred. The reason I decided to use the snow foam was for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a great lubricant to prevent any marring that occurs during the clay bar stage. And number two, we've just used some pretty high potent chemicals on the surface, for example that tar remover. So this snow foam stage will help to neutralize those chemicals. I decided to use an all-in-one polish with a medium cut pad. My aim here wasn't to remove swirl marks, it was to simply brighten up the surface. As you can see, there are still swirl marks on the left side, but the left side definitely looks a lot more clearer and a lot more brighter. To protect the wheels, I decided to use Aqua Coat by Auto Finesse. Although this isn't typically something you'd use on the wheels, I decided to do so. The wheel was first wetted down before Aqua Coat was liberally applied, paying special attention to the wheel barrels before being rinsed off. For any plastic trim and wheel arches, I used Aerospace 303, which was applied to a foam applicator pad before being worked into all of the surfaces. For the fabric wheel arch liners, I decided to use some Smart Guard. This was great because next time you have to clean them out, all you have to do is simply rinse them for like 2 minutes and they'll be completely clean. I also slapped on a bit of tyre shine to make the tyres pop. For the paintwork, I used a ceramic wax sealant. The first application was wiped off to set a base layer, before the second application was sprayed and rinsed off. Maguire's Hybrid Ceramic Wax is an amazing product that I highly recommend. I use it on my personal vehicles and it's lasted nearly a year now. As you can see, even just the base layer applies a lot of protection to the paintwork. It's amazing how well this product works. However, we want maximum protection, which is why we apply 2 coats. It's important to rinse the second layer off really well. You might notice there's a little bit of white foam that occurs when we spray off. This is normal. As long as you rinse off thoroughly, all of that white foam should just come off. This type of product is great for someone who wants solid protection without having to reapply every 2 months like a traditional wax.